Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. And today I've got a video today. It's sort of designed a little bit. I'm going to throw one out there for my haters a little bit because it seems like I get some comments once in a while. Every time I post an opinion comment, somebody comes back and says, we're just sick of you being negative all the time and saying what's bad about the sport. But I think what happens, I think a lot of times people confuse complaining about something with trying to affect change for the better. So there's a differentiation between that. But today I'm going to throw out something that the haters can't complain about. Two of the things that I really love about fishing. What I think are the best things about fishing. So we'll put that out there and see how it goes. But just real quick before we get started, guys, just want to remind you guys, tomorrow night Johnny and I have our weekly live podcast on Fish the Moment Live. Hope to see you out there. And also check out fishthemoment.com. Johnny and I have our next virtual seminar coming up in a couple weeks, and we're going to be talking about northern fisheries, natural bodies of lakes, techniques and strategies for catching all those big smallmouth and largemouth that live up in those northern tier lakes. So if you guys fish up north, hope to see you on that seminar. You can sign up for that at fishthemoment.com. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what I think the two best things about bass fishing are. Because I've obviously, for somebody like myself to be in it as long as I have, over 50 years or something, I like about it, or I wouldn't still be doing it. But probably the two things that I love about fishing more than anything, and I'm going to explain a little bit, is the connection to the real world that you have through it, and how it teaches you more about yourself than anything else I can think about. I'll explain a little bit about that. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the connection to the real world. I mean, mankind anymore in modern society, we're so insulated from nature that we completely lost all of our abilities to reconnect with nature. If you put the average citizen, out in a wilderness situation, wilderness environment, they couldn't last a week out there. Where our ancestors, the Native Americans and the indigenous peoples, they were masters of their environment, and they could not only survive, but they could survive in complete comfort and luxury a lot of times, just with nothing but stone tools. So I think what happens a lot of times is when you are bass fishing and when you're out in nature, that gives you that chance to reconnect with the natural world more. Because, guys, so many people out there, they don't ever take their feet off the concrete. From the time they get up in the morning, their feet are on carpet. They walk outside and it's on concrete, into their car, into tile, and their feet never get off of that. And they never get outside. They never experience the elements. They never experience sun in their face, wind in their face, rain in their face, heat and cold. They never experience the life-giving elements that we have. One of the things I love about bass fishing is you do that. You get to directly experience those elements, those life-giving elements, and I think they're very therapeutic myself. I think that being outside in all different type of weather conditions, and I'm not talking being outside for just a couple minutes, I'm talking about spending the day, if it's cold, if it's hot, if it's raining, whatever like that. I think there is almost a medicinal effect that affects somebody on a cellular level. I really believe that. And that's one of the things I love about fishing more than anything else, being able just to see what's going on in the natural world. I mean, I've seen so many incredible things fishing as far as in nature, different types of wildlife, different trees, different geographical landscapes. The list goes on and on with that. And again, I'm really thankful, for being able to be around that part of it. But the main thing, I think, more than anything else, is when you spend a lot of time fishing, it helps you sort of gain that respect back that we lose a lot, for the other creatures that we share this planet with. Because I'm going to do a lot more stuff like this in the future, guys. I got something I'm working on that I'll probably share with you guys over the next month or so. I'm going to start getting into a little bit more of this. But, I think a lot of it is that, anymore out there, we don't have a lot of respect for other creatures that share this planet, or, things that are on this planet here. But when you're bass fishing and you're out, you tend to have a little bit better touch with reality like that. You tend to, you tend to appreciate, seeing those deer jumping up on the bank, or you tend to appreciate if you see a 200-year-old walnut tree growing alongside the shoreline like that. A lot of people don't see. And the more that you're in a situation where you're around like that, where you're around stuff like that, you have less of a chance to become apathetic about, the plight of that, whatever that particular, plant or animal is like that. And in doing so, we become better stewards of this planet, and we create a more sustainable planet, for future generations. And it's one of the things in my favorite, one of my favorite philosophies about some of the Native American tribes, particularly some of the Lipan Apaches, was that, when they took an action, whatever it may be, say they were going to cut down a sapling to make a bow out of or whatever, they would ask themselves, before they did it, it's like, okay, if I do this, how is it going to affect future generations after we're gone here? They would actually pose that question to them, and if they couldn't come up with an answer that it would actually benefit or help it, they didn't take that action. They had an awareness for, passing, that, sort of a pristine environment down to the next generation. And then they basically lived on this, the continent we're on right now, the United States, they lived on this continent for 10,000 years with basically no evidence of their existence. Look what we've done in the last 150 years. This United States used to be a complete wilderness, and now it's just overdeveloped, and it's like almost like a concrete jungle from end to end, with just patches of wildness here and there. And that's why it's so important for us to have these patches of wild and maintain them, like lakes, public lands, whatever, because people need that. People need to be able to reconnect with nature, and bass fishing is one of the greatest ways that you can do that. So I'll go into a lot more on that in the future, because I think there's a lot to be said on that. And I think a lot of people don't really realize the value that they have with stuff like that until they didn't have it. A real short story here. I remember I've been to Japan several times, in Tokyo. And if any of you guys have ever been to Tokyo over there, first of all, food, I'm not slamming Tokyo. The food is awesome, but the thing about Tokyo, it's literally a concrete jungle that is nothing but concrete buildings and overhead harsh lighting everywhere, bright lighting. And it was almost depressing to be over there for me for a period of time, because the first thing I noticed when I got back to the States and I was driving home through farmland that just had open land with no houses, it was like a breath of fresh air that I could breathe again and not be surrounded by that. So anyway, that gets back to the whole thing about when you're on the water lot and you're fishing, you appreciate that. Second thing I'll talk about out there is, if you're bass fishing, and particularly if you're a tournament fisherman, you can do it just regular fishing, but there's not another sport out there that makes you not only feel alive, but it makes you experience the full range of human emotions that a person has. I can promise you, if you bass fish professionally for a living as long as I have, there's not a human emotion out there that you haven't had to confront and address. It can be joy, happiness, sadness, anxiety, fear, anticipation, joy, happiness, sadness, just everything out there. Every range of the human emotion, bass fishing, particularly tournament fishing, you're going to confront it at some level like that. And by doing that, by confronting it, not only once, but by confronting that on somewhat of a consistent basis, if you do it for long enough, like decades like I have, you learn a lot about yourself. You not only learn how you react to different situations, but you can also use that as a way to improve yourself as a person, and ask yourself why that makes you feel like that. And then if it's some type of a negative emotion, you can help overcome it, through fishing too. And that's one of the things I don't think a lot of people can deal with that, because, it's something that's definitely going to come up a lot, if you're a tournament angler. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to throw that out there. Those are the two things that I absolutely love about bass fishing, how it connects me back to nature, and how it makes me learn about myself. That's probably not what a lot of people think about there. There's a lot of things, the other things I love about it too, but those are the two things that I really feel that have the most value in the sport. But let me know what you think about this video. Some of the stuff I do, guys, a little bit, I don't just like, I give you guys hardcore hogging tips. I try to throw one out there every single day, but I also know that bass fishing is more than just hardcore hogging tips, because if you relegate it just to that, then you're missing out so much that the sport has to offer, because the sport is wide ranging and encompassing. And I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to delve off into some of those other areas, because I think that not only helps you become a better angler, but it also helps you get the most out of the sport and what it's all about. So anyway, hope everybody's doing good today, and we'll be back soon with another one. Talk to you later.